Okay, so today we're going to look at a travel budget for your final as part of showing that you can manipulate computer applications to present information. You will be doing a travel budget that will go with your business memo about business etiquette in another country, and so along with that you'll be preparing travel to that country. And please reread your assignment to see exactly what you need for the Excel portion. But in general, you're preparing a budget for 2 people for 2 nights. Over the course of the year, you will go there 3 times. Your total yearly budget is $15,000. So here is an example. And we can see that this is just basic data. It has a title, it's saying its expenses, the total yearly budget. There's a blank spot for total expenses because they haven't been calculated yet, and the difference. Most budgets will have a section here, just like this, that will have columns, so the description of the item. Most items can fall into categories, the quantity, unit cost, and total cost. And I'm actually going to go ahead and set a cell style to that. The other thing is we can see that that's hiding, and so one of the things we'll want to do every time you work with a document, you want to make sure that it's presented in the most presentable way. So there I just made the wrap text. So I just want to make sure that it's easy to read and that people understand what's going on with it. So after I get all the data in, I'm going to format the rest of it as well. So when you're planning travel, you have to think about things like what you're going to eat, how you're going to get around, do you need money for any kind of entertainment type things, and you can be as creative as you want with developing the travel budget, but you do want to use reliable sources when you're searching. So websites such as maybe Travelocity could help you get a flight. Maybe you find out the different hotels in the area through Travelocity or any of the other travel sites, and maybe you go directly to the website for the hotel and you get a better deal. Whatever the case may be, you're always going to have some sort of description, and all those items can fall into certain categories. So you'll figure out how you want to categorize everything. But for the most part, you'll probably have entertainment, food, lodging, and transportation. Now we have a quantity section because we have 2 people and 2 nights for each trip. And so of course we need to divide that into unit cost for each individual item, and then we need to figure out a total cost, which will be done using product. And so here I am selecting my cells that I would like to figure out, and I'm going to go ahead and format that just because I like to see that along the way. So I figured out the total cost, and now I need to figure out the total expenses for the month. So I'm actually going to change this to total monthly expenses. Or actually, I could say total expenses for January. And I'm going to figure that out by going ahead and hitting auto sum. And as you can see, it's going to select the wrong thing because I need to add up all the total costs. So I'm going to, with my 4-way black cross, click on it, select it, drag it over, and then reselect the cell range that the auto sum is going to add up. So there I have my total expenses for January. So now I'm going to come down here, and a good budget will have everything divided up by total expense. If I open this up a little bit, I can see that it says total expense by category. And so one of the functions that we've learned recently is SUMIF. And SUMIF is good to total expense by category. So I'm going to go to my insert function. I'm going to type SUMIF. Double click on SUMIF, and the first thing I need to do is the range. Range is the range of cells you want evaluated. So if I'm trying to find out total expense by category, this is my range where it's going to find the category. The category is the condition or criteria in the form of a number, expression, or text that defines which cells will be added. So my criteria is going to be entertainment. See, I already have that set up on the side. And then my sum range are the actual cells to sum. So that's the total costs. So what I'm saying is, if this range, so that range, if it has the word entertainment in it, then it'll add up the corresponding line. So I say okay, and there I have my total expense. And I'm going to go ahead and use the autofill. And before I do that, and if you see, I just clicked in the formula bar, and you can see that the cells that are selected are all there matching by color. So this is my range, blue, blue. This is my criteria, red, red. And this is my sum range, the purple. So now I just need to think about what do I need to do to these cells, because I'm going to use the autofill to save myself time and be more efficient. I need to think about making them absolute. So I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut F4. Just put my cursor in the middle, hit F4, or put the dollar signs in front of them. That way now when I go to copy and paste it, the ranges will remain the same. But the criteria, since it's a relative cell reference, will change. So now I go back, and I'm going to fill that in. I'm going to go ahead and format that as well. Now I need to figure out the percent of budget. So percent of budget is taking the small piece and dividing it into the big piece. So I'm trying to see what percent of the budget is entertainment into all the expenses for January. And again, because I know I'm going to be using the autofill to drag it down, I need to think about which cell needs to remain the same as it gets copied down. Well, that would be the expenses for January. So I'm going to make B4 in absolute. I'm going to make this a percentage, and I'm going to copy that down. Okay, so now looking at this, I can see transportation is 75% of the budget, lodging is 13, food is 5, and entertainment is 7. So now let's take a look here. I know that I'm also going to be doing this budget for March as well. So I could quickly copy this by going down here, right-clicking, and saying move or copy. Going to, I can choose a different book if I wanted, but I want to stay in this workbook. And I'm going to say move to the end, create a copy. And so now I have a duplicate. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to make this March. And I'm also going to make this a blue tab instead. So I right click again and I'm going to make it blue now. And I can tell that it's engaged, that I'm on this worksheet because it's green and it has the underline, right? But if I click there, I can see, oh yeah, it's the blue I just made. So on the March tab, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say March. And I need to make some changes, right? I need to change this to March. And it turns out when I did my research that prices increase in March. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and my flight went up to $2,500. So I'm going to go change that. And look what happened as soon as I changed it. See how everything changed automatically for me? Let's try it again. So now it turns out that the tour is going to take the city has jumped up to 200. Watch how everything changes. Now the reason it changes is because these cells that have formulas in them have cell references. So every time that cell is referenced, it'll change all the connecting cell references, which is very, very useful. So we're going to go ahead and continue to look at cell references. But first I'm going to go back to January. I'm going to figure out the difference here. So I want to know how much money I have left over. So the yearly budget minus the expenses. So I'm going to go ahead and do a simple formula that will allow me to figure out the difference. So budget minus expenses, so that's what the difference is there. And I'm going to go to March and I'm going to do the same thing. Oh, look at that. But when I look at that, interesting. So I know that this kind of doesn't really tell me too much, does it? Because I have $15,000 total, right? But this, when I'm just subtracting this, that's not changing the yearly budget. So what we're going to do is make a cash flow. So go ahead and open another sheet. Let's call it cash flow. And cash flow is how we can look to see the money that we have coming in every single month. So this is our travel cash flow. I'm going to say we have a budget of $15,000. So I'm going to start with the first month. Actually, I'm going to start with the starting budget. And that starting budget starts in January. And then it goes into March. So I'm going to start starting budget, then I'm going to do expenses, and then I'm going to do ending budget. So I'm going to use cell references to get that starting budget. So I'm going to hit the equal sign. I go to the January sheet, and I'm just going to select that starting yearly budget and hit enter before leaving. And what happens is it pulls it from the sheet. If you look on the formula bar, you can see it says January budget and then exclamation point. That's just letting you know, hey, that's from sheet January budget, cell B3. Okay, let's do the same thing for the expenses. Great. Oh, look at that. Pulled it in for us. Now, what's my ending budget? Now I'm going to put that formula that I did, budget minus expenses. Oops, sorry, not divided. Minus expenses. And then I can tell that my ending budget is $11,000. So now what I'm going to do is actually bring that $11,000 up to March. But I'm not just going to type it in. I'm actually going to hit the equal sign and click on that ending budget. And now it's pulling that number from that cell because in that cell is a cell reference. And then I'm going to, again, go get the cell that has the expenses for March. Great. Oh, look at that. And so then I'm going to drag this formula over. And so now I know that my ending budget is $5,000 left over. So I'm definitely under budget at this point, which is great. So the last thing I want to show you is how to group sheets. So I'm going to group January, March by selecting one, hit Shift, hold down Shift, and select March. Now I see they are both engaged because the green line is under both. Now, when I click on the title, and I'm going to add a cell style to it, and I'm going to go ahead and make these cells all blue by right-clicking, go to Format Cells. I'm going to go to the border. I'm going to put a border around all of them, and I'm going to make them blue. Okay, so now I did that on January. When I click on March, and you can either click on another tab to disengage them all, or you can right-click and say Ungroup Sheets. So now notice that whatever formatting it did on January, it is also done on March now. So now I'm just going to show one last thing of why this is so important. So let's go back to January, and we're actually going to increase our budget to $20,000. Okay, all it changed there was the $20,000, but when I go to the cash flow, look how it changed all the numbers for us. Because again, everything's linked by cell references. And that's about it for the travel budget. Good luck.